What is going on? Ba-boom, here we are. Cam is already up in the chat. People are coming in. It is free art lesson time because that's what I do here. I give away free knowledge. Free. You know, except it costs you your time. Jim O'Reilly is here. I got coffee. I am getting my day going. This is the first day back to business as kind of usual after Christmas and the 2 weeks with the family in the house and stuff. Morning, Kevin Freer. So to recap here, what I'm doing these days here on the whole live stream thing. So I'm gonna do the live stream, and when I'm done, this is going to be chopped up and re-uploaded into more digestible portions. The live stream will be members only after the fact, so that's the way we're going here. Hello, New York to New Mexico Rican. Am I reading that right, or is it Ninton-American? There we go. All right, we're going to talk about drawing crowds today. What's up, my sketchbook? Everybody, share the link out, get some people in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and when I re-upload these videos, please watch them, leave a comment in them. We need to get the algorithm kicking these things up. Eric Hawkins, what's up? All right, so while people are filtering in here, what other business can I talk about? GetThisArt.com. The art book is still available in demand, and the THUNDERPUNCH books for the Kickstarter are on their way. They're supposed to be here tomorrow. So, getting into the swing of things. I got coffee. It's almost lunchtime, and I'm still drinking coffee. Here we go. So, we're going to talk about drawing crowds, because I had a question about how to draw them easily without having to draw every single person in the crowd. So, hello, Lisa. So we're going to talk about, I've kind of set up some things here. So there's a couple key concepts here. First of all, as far as just drawing them, and to save time is why I went ahead and doodled these things out. When you draw the characters on the front, the characters that have the most detail in the crowd are going to obviously be the ones right up in your face. Or if they're in the background, in the front of the crowd. In your face, figuratively. But their pose and their action is going to give your mind the information it needs to tell you what the attitude of the entire crowd is about. So here we got people, maybe they're waiting. So you can see everybody's waiting. And here that's protesting. See, even though I've only drawn a head, you know those people are protesting. Over here, obviously I gave the front guy or girl popcorn and a drink, just two of them. You know this is kind of a theater then. And then running, I've only got the front figures kind of running, and then back here, you know that this is a crowd running. It's a marathon. Maybe they're running away from Godzilla or something. Who knows? Who knows what they're doing? So let's start with this one. If this crowd is up close, you can like really detail these people in. And let me just real quickly. I think I could go in and give them oh, that's not with that color though. Give them a belt and, you know, shirt and face, whatever. If they're further in the back, I would go for big shapes. So once we draw these things in, the heads are important, especially with like this crowd. I'm drawing the heads in, and then the shoulders are important. So if you do nothing else in the background, draw the heads and the shoulders. And if they're running, you know, the shoulders are going to be at an angle. If they're all sitting, they're going to be, you know, people. You could get away with this. This is pretty static because people really don't sit like this. But if it's, you know, way further in the background, you could. So that's the first thing. Characters in the front are going to dictate the attitude of the crowd. So focus on like the first row, maybe even just like 3 or 4 standout people that are informing the viewer what's going on, and then you can just indicate in the back. Like here, I didn't even draw. You can tell people are back here. I didn't even draw bodies. So the next thing is when you go to color them, there's a couple tricks on coloring them, either one, to save time, or to, depending on how you color them, also adds information into how the crowd is going to be read. So the first way you could do, if I got the right layer here. Okay. So here I've gone through and I've colored them as individuals. And this takes a little more time, but we'll start up here. So I've got basic skin tones up on the head and of the arms in front. For these front figures, they're about the same as the back figures, except that I went with a little more washed out colors just to make some distance. So, but these all kind of blend together. This reads as one group because they're all very similarly colored. Same thing down here. They kind of read as one group because nothing really stands out for the most part. They're all, other than behavior, they're all just color-wise, kind of, your eye is like, oh, this is a colorful spot of paper. Same thing here and same thing here, right? Now, maybe there's a lot going on my page, and say that I've got a person, maybe there's a fight or something over here. Maybe there's something going on in this area. Another option for that is to group these guys together is just a mass of color like this. So you see this a lot in older comic books. You see this a lot in when the color printing process was not as good, and they would just, colors were a lot more basic, but it still works. This will take your attention off of them onto whatever's the brighter colors over here, but it still reads as a mass of people. And you could like go lighter as you went back. So this is an easy way to group them together. Now, things start changing. All right. So let's say on this, how I group them together in the color matters, because this is one group of people running, right? Now, if I take away this, all of a sudden, this might be 3 people being chased by a group because I've separated them from this. The same thing. Let me see if I've done anything else here. All right, so we can get into stuff like if I've colored them this way, I'm gonna go on a different layer. And let's say I go back and I just like, not that pin though. And if I color it over the background colors, but I leave these front characters more detailed, what's going to happen is suddenly the front row seems like maybe main characters. You can actually kind of see it. He's not really in the front row, so he's going to get lost in the back as well. So now we've got, your focus is on these. Maybe they're representing the crowd through dialogue. Maybe this is like the main cast of characters. Same thing here. If I go through and kind of gray out with, we can gray out with any color. I'm just meaning a color that's not vibrant. Now we've separated them. So you could do even the same thing here. Maybe these two, I've already set these two apart because they're the only one that have snacks. So if I went through here and did a little, make a little vignette. So you can kind of see where this is going. So there are some basic tips on drawing a crowd. The color and the detail, you could go in here, and if this was just an inked drawing and not going to be colored, you could just do a lot of detail on these 4 characters and then very simple kind of figures in the back like I did here, and that would do the same job that the color is doing here. But it's an easy way to draw a crowd. Focus on the front line, few people in front that dictate what the attitude of the crowd is, and when color, you can simplify things, do a little vignette there. So hope that helps. I will cut that segment out and re-upload it as its own video. I was going through, I read all your chat. I think I did that muted. Join Brian's channel, says Eric. If you use the Google Opinion Rewards app. You can use it to pay for the membership. I don't know what that means, but that sounds like a thing. Let's see what else here. Good start to 2021. It wouldn't be a Brian Shearer channel if at some point I didn't mute myself. I may just listen to the modem and muted myself. I know. I did the exact reverse of what I intended to do. All right, Vesper says, can you show us how to draw a human body the easiest way? Let me get another canvas here. Another drink of coffee. Hold on. I need to take that song out. That annoying modem song. All right. Human figure. Easy way. Well, drawing people is not easy. I mean, learning how. I mean, once you kind of get you could spend the rest of your life studying anatomy and like going in depth into every individual muscle and like there's I saw a post recently where one of the Michelangelo statues, it was a highlight of like the arm, and there's a muscle. It was pointing out this muscle that only appears when the pinky, it's either up or down, I don't remember. And it showed that muscle because the pinky, it was just showing how detailed, he went into realism. But doing a, we'll say a basic kind of figure that reads as a well-proportioned figure. Yeah, basic fella, basic lady. Where are we here? Let's get a pencil. Let's get blue. So in general, if you want good proportions, I'll give you the basics. Start with a head, and you typically want to avoid doing like a straight line. This is called the line of action. Body is usually, people hold themselves in more of an S curve, so we'll do an S. Shoulder width is usually, I think 2 heads width, 2.5. At this point I eyeballed it. I forgot what the actual dimensions are. But start with your head and go down and find where the in between the collarbone right here, the pit of your neck, and then the clavicle bone is important. Now from here, what you want to do is, if I want this character to be this high, the crotch is midsection, right at the middle of that. It's the center point. So if I go down here and make a torso, and it's kind of a trapezoid, or you can do a circle. For simplicity's sake, we'll use ovals, circles. Just kind of keep these in proportion. The head actually looks a little too small, so we'll just make it bigger. Now leave a little space. So this doesn't move. This doesn't move. It pivots here. And then we'll get a... I'll go into this more detail in just a second. So halfway point with the knees. So we've got halfway point at the crotch, halfway point at the knees, down here. And that goes for men and women. And the hands should come right below right about where the thigh level, I guess. Gotta stand up. I think I remember. I gotta stand up. Yeah, mid thigh. And that's the thing about studying anatomy, is you learn all the rules, and then you kind of, it gets ingrained and you stop thinking about the rule and you just kind of eyeball it. That's kind of the goal, is to get the feel for it. All right, so this is just a basic human figure. But a couple things that I'm gonna go over here. There's all different kinds of ways you can kind of trick yourself, or not really trick yourself, but understand how bodies move. For example, the torso. I'm gonna get a phone call. Let's move this generic person over here. One of the a good exercise, and I've seen it a couple different places, is like think of a sack of flour. So we got a sack of flour here. This is basically the torso. Think about the torso this way. So if you're going to pivot, move this sack of flour around, here would be like the waist. So we could have this sack of flour looking over. You can see how it bends in. The waist does this. The human body gets a crease there too. Right? Looking over and standing. So this, if we turned this sack of flour into a person, maybe he's investigating. He'd have to put his hand back here to maintain the balance. But you can't see where this is going, right? Let's make another layer so it doesn't get... So you could just play with that form. And just do expressions. So this would be kind of legs, and think shoulder, arm kind of thing. But when I'm drawing figures, I like to think, okay, if to make a drawing interesting, the chest, if it's kind of facing this way, I kind of want to get a twist to the body. So that the hips would be going that way. Following that S curve. So what else? The other, I'm trying to think of other, so also kind of weight distribution. And let's see if I can do this with the whole sack of flour concept. If the weight is on, let me just draw the figure. If the weight is on this hip, then this opposite shoulder will be raised. So if I was drawing a setup for a pose where somebody's standing, and I drew the head, and I drew and I'll exaggerate it here. If this is the angle of the shoulder, then this is going to be the angle of the hip. So we come down here. The weight is up here. So this leg could actually be, could be doing anything. It could be up, it could be on the ground, it could be, whichever one, because this hip is getting pushed up, supporting. And then this, a lot of female poses end up really exaggerating this principle, but it goes for men and women. If all your weight is getting pushed up on this leg, it pushes this hip up and the opposite shoulder. So think in terms of that being opposite. So I'm just kind of unloading a bunch of little things that I guess my go-to things I think of when I'm drawing. Reciprocal motion. So human bodies can't, you got to have an equal amount of mass essentially, or balance. So if this guy here, I don't know if this guy or girl yet. So if this is over here, and a lot of this, if someone reaches really far for something, you do this. You do this when you're reaching out. Okay, this person's reaching for a towel. Maybe they're out of the shower, right? When they reach here, that other leg is going to go way out here. Like you're going to extend without you even realizing it, this leg out to counterbalance. Or maybe they're reaching with this hand for something. And maybe this leg is still here, but something's got to go out here to counterbalance that extreme action. Contrapposto position. Edwin, hello. So, think center line to keep your things from getting off balance, unless they're holding onto a ledge or something. You've got to make sure, see if I'm just drawing a figure. Maybe he's pointing, I don't know. And see, because I got this arm, I want to get this other leg out. Because if I have too much over here on this side, now this is, it's not wrong, but now this is motion, right? It looks like he's actually running and pointing in some weird way. But wherever this leg is, he's suddenly stopped moving because he's, well, you know, as a viewer and a human being, you know that his weight is here. He's not going anywhere. But now you know, you can even tell he's either going this way or he's going to fall that way. That sounds like potato. This is so far a hodgepodge of anatomy thoughts. I'm trying to think of what else. If anybody's has anything in particular, I'm gonna save those for a second, that you're struggling with, because all this stuff applies to cartoony things too. I mean, if I'm drawing like a big, and you'll see me do this when I draw really cartoony characters. So if I'll start with a shape, and sometimes I'll do this, like I'll go for a shape right here, and I'll just like help there right down to the foot. Maybe bring this one up here. The eraser is your friend. Love your eraser. So this looks like somebody going up steps or something. But always going for these big shapes, keeping those principles of balance. So if I drew a line right down the middle of the body, he's pretty evenly distributed. Big shapes. Oh, the other thing too, another thing too is the principle, like, see this motion here? It's kind of like a chain, or the human body tends to do that. Like it'll go here, and then this side will come out. Alternating the contours. Thanks for combining real life with drawing. It makes it so much easier. So if I'm going to draw, and Bruce Timm, if you look at something like Bruce Timm, let me get rid of this guy for a second. A lot of his, he exaggerates these principles of motion. So he'll have like Batman or something like, let's see, let me see if I can do a Bruce Timmish arm, like coming out here. Like this kind of thing. This could be an arm or a leg or something, but you see it's like straight here, curve, curve. Like when the curve is falling this way and this way. You'll see this an awful lot, because this is kind of it's a principle in nature, but in cartooning it can get exaggerated. So if I had a shoulder here and it's let's say it's maybe he's flexing. So the bicep flexing, if he's doing kind of the Arnold Schwarzenegger, muscle man pose. You know that when you do this, the bicep goes up, your tricep is straight. That's kind of that's very simple. So you could do a straight line for the tricep because it's not being used. It's the bicep, and then maybe straight at that angle. Let's see. Oh, I wonder what. Yeah, kind of that way. Now that I say that, it's like, let's see which one straight. Think about it. Use a mirror. Use your mirrors if you have a question about. So it'd be this right here, or if he's might help if I drew the whole body. Now this looks like, if I do it this way, it looks like he's, I don't know, holding a bag of groceries, like he's turned his hand in. This would be the bicep, this would be the back. But you can kind of see this principle. Unless you have arm flaps that hang down when you flex those biceps. Pete Mack, hello. Lisa says hands are challenging. They are. Let me do some hands things. But anyway, okay, so far we've got a couple principles, right? We've got the weight, contrapposto, shoulder up, opposite hip up, depending on the weight. So that's one. Let me just pull up the other stuff. Sack of flour, treating a torso, use it as practice, just giving the sack of flour some personality. I think that came from, I think the Etherington Brothers books are a good resource if you know them. A lot of good stuff in there. Hands are, I mean, they're always a challenge. If you watched any of my live streams, like I'll run into a hand and I'll redraw it 18 times. But I don't have a problem for some reason. I do know the reason actually. If you're having problems, a lot of times what you need to do is go back to the basics and look at the structure. Because when I draw robot hands, I don't have near as much problem, but it's because they're so boxy and I get ahead of myself with human hands that I try to make them organic too soon. I really like, Elliot calls it the box of fries, which is I love that. It's like you have the box of fries and then you're drawing the French fries. You know, at a bare bones cartoon level, that's not a bad thing. So hands, if you look at your own hand, or anybody else's hand, really, look at your neighbor's hand. Perspective. Okay, we'll see. Side perspective from above and below. I'm not sure what exactly you mean, like looking at the side from a person below. Hands. All right, so the top of the hand is arced. So is the relationship of the knuckles. There's a little bit of webbing in between, but and I'm gonna try to be loose, but and get it right. The hand, like if you look at your fingers in general, your index and middle finger kind of would arc this way when you're drawing, and then after the midpoint with the ring finger and the pinky finger, they kind of go the other way. So if this guy was holding a glass, you could see. Whole body. Okay, I see. The box of fries method. Yeah. So just think the box of fries statement is good for remembering the basic shape of the hand. It starts narrow at the wrist and then flares out. And then you can get into things like the bone right here. This bone is actually pretty important. And again, figure drawing classes help a lot. But like, you have a hand hanging over a chair, and then this bone right here that goes down to right down to the pinky is good for indicating that pose. But no, that's a big blob. But anyway, let me finish what I was doing over here first. So, when you make a fist, I'm just throwing out what random things I'm thinking about as so if you've something, we're very informal here. I didn't come up with a lesson plan for you. Miss Mary Mac says, I am 1,000% uninitiated noob contemplating doing this. What is this program? This is Clip Studio Paint. What other what do others here use? User friendliness. Clip Studio Paint is my favorite. It's fairly intuitive and not expensive for the pro version. And some people use Procreate. You can use something like Photoshop. I never really could use Photoshop very effectively. I mean, I could draw on it, but it's just the feel. This is made for drawing. All right, so before I forget here, when you make a fist, you'll notice that oftentimes this index finger right here doesn't go down even with the others. Like if I make my fingers even, that looks weird. And it's uncomfortable. But when I actually make a normal fist, you can see that more of this, especially this knuckle here, you can see. So you'll see that a lot. You can exaggerate that a bit here. Even if I just do a basic hand like this. show that just a little bit. There we go. We got that taper, the box of fries. That's not there. There we go. That's better. Do not draw. I'm simply here for interest and love seeing how things develop. Oh, well, welcome. Ornella T. So, a good thing to do is just start, filling up pages of hands. And I need to do this more often. It's like you could do this. This should be an exercise I think you do for the rest of your life, honestly. I don't do it nearly as often as I should. But, like pointing a finger and getting the basic shape. The thumb faces, look at the thumbnail, orientation of the thumbnail, and the other nails. My other nails are facing my face. This thumbnail's facing that way. Is Clip Studio good for a beginner? I think so. I mean, if you have, the other thing too is a tablet. Like I'm drawing on a XP Pen tablet directly on the surface. I could never get used to doing this, but I'm inspired to get out the sketchbook and practice hands. I need to practice more hands. If I practice more hands, I might not have so much trouble when I get to a certain hand. But anyway, so that's a very elongated finger, but you kind of get the. And again, look at what we got here. That principle. Convex, concave. It's the flow. Go for the flow. Forced perspective of the body. I understand it mostly in architecture and nature, but I'm struggling with it. Does anyone know when Clip Studio will be on discount? It comes up pretty regularly on discount, but I don't have any insight into what the pattern. I don't know what the pattern is, so I just keep an eye on it. So yeah, always look for the pattern. Since we're talking about hands too, foreshortening. If you don't know what foreshortening is, so foreshortening is when, like if I have a person here reaching towards you, like we're going to put their fist in your face. And the fist is really big, and they're like really, and they're smaller. Their other hand will be here. Let me actually try. If you look at a lot of like Spider-Man, you see this all the time in comics. But when he's doing the whole web swinging thing, maybe he's coming. See if I can actually draw a decent one here on the fly while I'm talking. And so if you drew it like it really is, and this isn't very exciting. Here's Spidey. Let me make him Spider-Man. Put his little eye holes. You gotta think a good Spider-Man pose here. But if we've got his shoulder here, and we've got his arm here, and we drew his forearm here, and it was just like he's doing his little Spider-Man thing. That's not very exciting. It's all in proportion. It's correct maybe, but it's boring. So foreshortening is when whatever gets closer to the camera starts getting bigger. So we've got his shoulder, his forearm here, and then his hand little. So he's shooting his web, and the web is like really coming out like that. This is foreshortening. Things closer to the camera would appear bigger. Objects in your face may appear bigger. And like this leg here would be, I'm really pushing the distance by making it smaller. So if you're trying to parse out like the what's the word term, the anatomy and the measurements, they don't measure up. Like I can't say, oh, this arm is supposed to be this many heads how long. It's like that doesn't apply in foreshortening. And as far as like hard and fast rules for it, I honestly I have personally just have to play with it until it looks right. I don't know that there's because it's a distortion, measurements don't necessarily apply. So for example, I mean, if also foreshortening. So another tip too is when you're doing figures, and I'll show you this while I'm still talking about foreshortening. Perspective lines do help. So let's say I'm gonna, and they don't have to be actual, they don't actually have to measure up. They just have to be a loose approximation. So if I'm gonna foreshorten this guy's head, I'm gonna put him or her, I haven't decided yet, into this box loosely. And you can kind of see it's easier actually with the perspective lines, because it actually kind of makes sense. But you're not seeing the whole calf, for example, because part of the knee is overshadowing it. And as things come up here, they're bigger. G11 Eunice, hello, welcome back. So here, hand smaller. All right, so this is foreshortening. It's like the body is getting smaller the further away. That's a little crappy, but you get the idea. So, AJ, hello, welcome. So if we go back to, all right, so that's foreshortening. Again, the main point there is there aren't really, because it's a distortion, I don't think, and maybe if somebody knows contrary to this, but I have never seen any like formula or measurement for how to correctly do. I'm sure there is, you know, if you were going to draw it realistically, I don't know, eyeball it. You can see it in the camera, right? My hand is huge. It's foreshortened. And that's actually good. Like if I was, you could see a lot of things disappear. Like you can't even see my arm. Like I could just draw a hand and then just draw a smaller figure. Your brain would connect it. Another tip for drawing people, like I said, I just want to re-emphasize the perspective thing, because perspective is I think there's a learning curve on it, but once you get basic principles down, the basic principle of 3-point perspective, like, okay, 1-point perspective obviously is this. You have a point, you're looking back, it's the train track, right? Here's the train track going off in the distance. Here's the horizon. This is nothing. All right, 1-point perspective. Oh, another subscriber, hello. 2-point perspective, I have a vanishing point over here. Vanishing horizon. Oh, another one, hello. So we have lines coming from there, lines coming from there, and then I'm drawing, you know, the corner of a building. So that's 2-point perspective. 3-point perspective is when you're what I just did, right? There's a vanishing point, well, to exaggerate it, down here, and then the horizon I guess would be way up here, and then so your vertical lines are going this way. You've got, so like I just drew this figure in 3-point perspective, except the vanishing points on this one were way off the page. Also, I didn't have really have no spam risk. Oh, follow me there. All right, so, but I'm not trying to, when I'm drawing a figure, especially for like a cartoony something or a comic, I'm just trying, or a commission for that matter, I'm just trying to get an approximate, and let's do a different color. Like these lines don't really, they probably never even really intersect if you really followed them to their conclusion. I don't need them to. I just need my eye to see a space to draw a character in. if I'd even go a little more boxy with the... When you're drawing characters, you can make them boxy. Should be more robotic. In my mind, because I draw a lot of robots, but... And I'm not keeping him inside the line. I'm just trying to roughly say, you know, that's the three-dimensional universe he lives in. So he's got to kind of match up. So I can have him actually doing something though. Nighthawk, hello. What device? This is the XP Pen Artist Pro 15.6. Where are we here? I am having a great day so far. Foreshortening on that was not quite right. And I can actually also see, even in this, I made his the midpoint a little too low. Trying to get bogged down on details. One trick too. You'll immediately see when I do this how this is off. I'm going to flip it. You'll automatically see things that are not balanced. I'm gonna give him a staff. Now he's more walking. New free how to draw vids in Clip Studio. Basic structure do I use for the foot? What did I hit that makes this think? All right, there we go. Basic structure for the foot. So I use that's kind of the bottom of the foot. So there's the ball, and then the ball kind of comes around, and there's that. So if you look at the bottom of a shoe, for example, there's kind of that, the way the foot, what is it, the arch, I guess. Let me think here. Let me think through drawing feet. So if I have a foot here. So I treat the toe, the big toe, if you're actually drawing a barefoot. And then you could just draw like, treat these as more of a mass, the other ones. But I kind of think of the big toe as separate from the rest. Let's see. Okay, so if we're coming back here from the ankle down to the heel, and then the heel comes in, and then you've kind of got this right after the heel, this kind of shape. I'm trying to think. I've never had to articulate how I draw feet before. Now that I draw this, top of the foot comes down, and so we're drawing a shoe. Whichever foot this is, this would be the person's right foot because the big toe sticks out further. And it kind of bends that way. And then maybe you can see like part of the heel protrude a little bit behind as it comes out of the ankle. Foot usually bends here in the middle, the ankle. Sleep now, school tomorrow. All right. Be good. See you next time. I don't know how much of I have to think about how I break down feet. I mean, a basic way of, if you're drawing a shoe, for example, usually you can see part of the underside of the shoe or boot. It's a wedge. It's a basic wedge shape. How's everyone? I think I'm caught up here. something to life in seconds. Maybe you do it without thinking about it. It's just a lot of practice. I don't know how much help I'm going to be on the foot because I haven't really thought through what I'm doing. Let me just draw some feet. We'll see what happens. Let's draw like a boot here. So or that could be a sock. So the main thing is we got the heel and then come up and then you're making contact with two parts, really, to simplify it, the heel and then the ball of the foot. And this part right here, the foot can bend at the toes. In one fail swoop, you've outdone Rob Liefeld. Oh yeah, Rob Liefeld feet. There we go. There's a Rob Liefeld foot. Hello, Nolan Lee. This is the channel called THUNDERPUNCH TV. I have semi-rebranded the channel THUNDERPUNCH TV as a catch-all since I do a lot of art stuff, but we also do, you know, paranormals and other things. We make things here. I think that's what we're doing. So anyway. Hello, Alex. Free art lessons. That's right. So simplified foot. So we got the ankle tapers, the bottom calf tapers down into the ankle. Again, we see this principle again, this pattern, alternating rhythm as it kind of comes over and then down that way and then back around to the heel. And then slopes down that way. The craftsman. Wait, when do you do paranormals? It will be on Thursdays. I still I did talk to Elliot. We had a big powwow about it. So come in. It's coming. It's coming back. So I don't know if there's anything in particular about the foot. I'm trying to simplify this. I've never really thought about simplifying it. Wedge. The heel comes back a little bit. If you even like had a basic wedge shape, you're ahead of the game. And you could take that where it bends right here, like you're tapping the foot. Van Davis, hello. What's the likelihood of an animated paranormal episode? I got things brewing. Depends on how much time I have. I'm wrapping up a batch of commissions, and when I get done with those, I gotta. Actually, I'm wrapping up my last batch of commissions, and then I gotta figure out what's next. I mean, I know what's next. I gotta finish William Last and do THUNDERPUNCH book 2. But what is it? Ornella's new. So I do a comedy show called Paranormals with my partner in crime, Elliot Fernandez. And we just look at the latest in ghosts and paranormal and crazy news and have fun with the shenanigans. All right. So yeah, you can always obscure. It's always great. All your characters have grass wherever they are, and then you how to avoid drawing feet with Brian Shearer. How do you draw T-Rex arms? Oh, that's easy. Here's T-Rex arms. Rawr. Is an ad for us? Yes, it is, Hyper Potato. Hey, what else? So I don't know if I was much help on the feet there. I think wedge shape. And arch. 3 dimensions. They've been trying to sketch the heel and front shapes where they should go and then build the foot off of those. It's counterintuitive. The heel and front shapes where they should go. So there would be the heel and then the front shape. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure if I follow. Yeah, we start with a basic kind of do another crazy layer here. So if I'm drawing a super simplified character, right? And I come down here and I want to get the feet. I mean, they're essentially those little wedge shapes at the bottom for a character this small. Again, that pattern immediately makes it look human, lifelike. Nimbus, I appreciate this. Avoid feet in my eye. Don't avoid feet. You gotta, don't avoid anything. We all do it from time to time. But if you're gonna get better, you gotta draw the stuff that's hard. Draw, I would say get a page and start small. Don't overthink it too much. Start drawing figures like this. And just get used to drawing that little bit there. And if you can get that to look right, then you can start expanding and making it bigger. All right, so we'll bring this guy's. So right here, what I've done is like to make it 3-dimensional. Like I knew it's basically that shape. It's like it is like a wedge with a bottom. I don't know. Is there an easy way to draw eyes? Let's see. Yeah, there was something else. Can you explain the golden ratio and how to incorporate it in design? I'm probably not the person to describe the golden ratio. If you don't know, if you ever seen kind of this thing, it's like things are proportional as you that spiral as you divide it up. I'm not as well versed in the ratios of what the golden ratio is. I mean, I know what it is, but essentially, it's do with proportion. Maybe I'll do a little, put together my thoughts on that and do one on that. Or something else. Yes, there is a playlist for paranormals. You can, I would say, start with season 2 and start watching that. But eyes. Let's talk about eyes. This will be the last little segment here. Drawing eyes. So let's say this is part of the. All right, we'll start with a circle, oval, really like an egg shape. Eyes are generally an eye width apart. And then inside that you've got the retina and the iris, all that. Now, so this is a pretty straightforward kind of eye, but unless you're kind of surprised, and you're not going to have your eyes like that. Then I don't know what this is. Is this where a tear duct is? The shape of the eye is basically this. Tear duct, or whatever the anatomical correct thing is. But if you want to start with that and then say, but we want people look surprised or crazy. People usually kind of have half their retina, iris kind of covered. When they don't, we look a little intense. So when your top eyelid comes down, the eyeball obviously pushes out a little bit, extends a bit from the face. So you have to think this little line up here is where the lid is coming over the top. So this little crease here, back down into there is where the skin is covering up the eye. And the same thing on the bottom too. Bottom little lid. And this is actually kind of somebody looking a little bit tired to kind of exaggerate the principle. And then you have the eyebrow, obviously on top. So like a woman's eyes, if you're drawing a female, thicker lashes up top. And don't draw like, just group them together. You don't want to draw like every little thing. That looks weird. Group them into groups. Group them into groups. For the bottom eyelash comes around. And this, you could do it this way. It gets thinner, of course, as you go to the little tear duct. Let's clean that up. But there is actually a space in between this bottom eyelash and where the bottom lid is. And it looks a little bit like this. You want to make your eyes look immediately look like you know what you're doing. Leave that little space there. And then from there, we're going to keep thinking this is a circle, right? So this is, if I did like what is it called? A wire mesh over it. Right, it has that curve. So we got the eyeball. One other thing with eyeballs too is like, I'll leave it a little dark because your eye is always in shadow here. So you can bring that down a little bit and make it look a little more lifelike and have a little shine there. And then top lid, oops, too big. What we just talked about. Where are we here? Chat's flying by. Let me see. Have I animated some of my drawings? I have. I'll do some more stuff on that. I've got some animation stuff in some of my playlists, I think, but I need to do some more. It's been a while. Where am I here? Draw ears. I had a question about ears. Let me finish up the eyes real quick. Mashed potatoes here. Okay, so there's the eye. When you're looking to the side, let's take this same female kind of eye here. So the eyebrow extends further. Okay. So we got an eyelash here. This is the top lid. So this is the eyeball. Total eyeball would be here. Now the thing is about things get I really foreshortened, I guess. Distorted. So if this is she's looking this way, you would not do this. Because from the side, this round thing becomes very thin. So smaller oval. Okay, because it's riding on top of the eyeball. And so it's coming around. So it's going to get thinner. And you can see here, like this little thing here, this is, the cheek, and then you hit the eyeball. And the eyeball goes from here to here. And then you're on your way up to the rest of the structure of the face. So, hello, Melody Blue. Let's see, where are we? Dancing Go for Valentine's Day. Let's see. Okay. What was I talking about? Ears. If you're gonna draw an ear, lobe, basic ear. You got the inside of the ear canal. There's kind of a Y. So get this little, I don't know the anatomy names, official names of things here. but there is like a kind of a Y shape if you want to do it correctly. And it differs from person to person. I mean, their ears are, there's a variety of, actually it's the other way, isn't it? I can't even remember how it goes now. I think I just had a stroke. Something like that. When you look inside your ear, there's infinite variety of ears. There's some structure in here, but if you want to do basic ear, I would say come around here and see you have this outside part. We'll give sideburns, right? So you have a lobe, and then you have a little bit of structure coming out that way. I'm not talking about mashed potatoes and stuff. No, I'm getting hungry too. Okay. Ears from the front. That's from the side. I tend to see this part stick out a little bit. A lot of times they'll do this little bit of this little shape. So if there's close to the head, maybe, again, there's like, it's like noses. There's an infinite variety. That's what makes your character your character. Or the same character with bigger ears that way, then it kind of face forwards. That basic structure would look more, be more visible front on. Yeah. Let's see, anything else that might be about where I'm going to stop today, because it's been about an hour. I don't want to go too long. I got stuff to do. All right, so there we go for some art things. I'm going to leave this up till I divide this up into sections and re-upload them. But is there anything else? Comment below, subscribe and like, and check out my art book over there at getthisart.com. And what else? Spread the link, spread the love, be good, and I will see you all soon. Ending the stream. Wait a minute, I gotta get on the